United States holds the world and American record set in '68 and again in '88 at 2:56.16. So the U.S. looks strong in this event, Craig Mosbach, but you're saying Jamaica, Cuba, and even the Soviet Union all could be right in the thick of this.
Well, that's really pushing me out on a limb. I'm predicting that all 4 teams will do well.
Dead heat, maybe?
The U.S. is always good in this event as we look at leadoff man Clarence Daniel because we're so good in the 400 meters. Now, we talked about how the U.S. almost laughs at the rest of the world sometimes in the 400. Last year, 8 of the 10 fastest men in the world were Americans. But Roberto Hernandez won the 400 at this competition, and he'll anchor a strong Cuban team.
Cuba, Jamaica, United States, Clarence Daniels, Andrew Valmon, Antonio Pettigrew, and Tim Simon for the United States. That's the lineup, and that's been a switch in the order from the one we originally had. So it has Daniel, Valmon, Pettigrew, and Simon in that order.
4 solid runners, all of whom have run well in major championships and NCAA, TAC championships. Valmon was a runner in the early rounds for the American team at the Seoul Olympics, so he got a gold medal there. The problem is the other teams are strong as well. The Jamaican team, as we take a look at the Soviet team, Soviets beat the United States at the '83 World Championships and at the '86 Goodwill Games. These are not names that are so well known in 400-meter running, but like the other Soviet 4x100-meter team, they seem to do it well when it gets to relay running.
Yevgeny Lomtiev is the anchor. Now we're looking at the Jamaican team. All 4 American runners are American-based.
Yep, Seymour Fagan, the leadoff man, runs for Auburn. Devon Morris runs for Wayland Baptist. Howard Burnett runs for New York Tech. And Patrick O'Connor runs for George Mason University. So they take advantage of all of America's best coaching at this event, which is one of America's best events.
Now, the Cuban team's strong, too. As you pointed out, the anchor, Roberto Hernandez, very strong, who won the 400-meter. Martinez, Stevens, and Herrera handicapped them for us.
Well, Stevens ran an excellent leg in the 4x100-meter relay. I think that's what kept Cuba in the hunt in that 4x100, which Dennis Mitchell won in such amazing fashion for the U.S. But Cuba, hey, Alberto Wantarena, El Caballo, the man who won the 1976 Olympics, they know how to run this event, the 400 meters.
We opened our telecast with the relays tonight with the women's 4x400, and you talked about the technique involved there. Recap that again for our viewers.
Well, of course, it's not like the 4x100-meter relay where the handoff is all important, but it is important. You want to make sure that the relay baton keeps moving as you hand off the baton. That hurt the U.S. team, the women's team, in their 4x400-meter run, as you said earlier in the evening. Now, most strategies call for the following sort of order. You put your second strongest man first to try to get out well. You put your most aggressive man second because he's the one that's going to have to fight for the lead when they break off the turn after the first 3 turns. You sometimes put your weakest guy third, and then your strongest man's got to be out the end, the guy who can do it all, come from behind, or keep a lead.
The Soviet Union won this event in Moscow in the 1986 Goodwill Games at a time of 3:01.25, surprising a lot of folks then.
Well, I think this is one of the times, in spite of the cool temperatures here, that could fall today. We could see a time under 3:01.25. The best time in the world this year, 3:01.46 by Baylor University. And again, nobody runs this event as much as the United States. If you go to high school and you run track there, if you go to college and run track there, sooner or later you're going to run a mile relay, a 4x400-meter relay. I even ran them. I was a miler.
So Clarence Daniel, who ran on second-place team in the '86 Goodwill Games, will be the first man out of the box for the United States in the 4x400 relay. The last relay event that we'll have in the Goodwill Games of 1990, and the last event of this nature here this evening at Husky Stadium.
Clarence Daniel runs for the Florida Clippers. That's a track team founded by George Steinbrenner, funded by George Steinbrenner. He lives down in Tampa, Florida.
We're underway with the men's 4x400 relay.
And Clarence Daniel is a very experienced 400-meter runner. He had a great indoor season, and he's not afraid to run very, very hard in the beginning. That's the way he ran well indoors. But Seymour Fagan from Jamaica is running very well early on.
Seymour Fagan from Jamaica, Juan Martinez of Cuba, Clarence Daniel of the U.S., and Alexei Pechukov of the Soviet Union in the first leg as they head into the final 100 meters of the first leg.
Over on the right, that's Jamaica, already making up the stagger, but Cuba is out very, very well over on the left, now in the center of the screen.
Juan Martinez in lane 5, Soviet Union's in lane 4, U.S. in lane 3, and Jamaica in lane 2 for the handoffs.
Excellent handoff for the United States as Andrew Valmon takes the baton. 46.2 unofficially for Daniel's split. That's a little bit slow for him. And this is where the aggressive nature of this event comes in. Look at Andrew Valmon fighting for the lead.
With Devon Morris of Jamaica, and Valmon gets out in front.
Valmon was running so quickly he hadn't changed the baton in his hand. He wanted to get that lead and then change the baton. A little bit of a dangerous strategy.
Proshin of the Soviet Union third. Stevens of Cuba is in fourth place. Right now leading is Andrew Valmon. Coming into the final 100 meters of the second leg, he'll be handing off to Antonio Pettigrew in a real sprint with Devon Morris of Jamaica.
Excellent strategy by the American coaches to put Andrew Valmon on the second leg, because he was so aggressive down that backstretch that it gave America the lead. And 44.4, an excellent split for Andrew Valmon.
Howard Burnett carrying the baton for Jamaica in second place now, and it is Antonio Pettigrew for the United States in second place. Is leading the race right now, Antonio Pettigrew.
Now Pettigrew's a tough man to chase because he likes to go out fast. He runs very, very hard the first 300 meters and then sees what's left for the last 100. We'll see if he's vulnerable here on the home stretch.
It is Pettigrew of the United States and Burnett of Jamaica. We're ready for the final 400 meters for the U.S. Tim Simon for Jamaica. Patrick O'Connor, it's close.
And O'Connor gets right on the trail of Tim Simon. O'Connor really in his first year of big-time 400-meter running. He's a sprinter, 100-meter, 200-meter champion in the IC4As, but it's tough to catch a guy like Tim Simon. Look at that stride down the backstretch.
Tim Simon, followed by Patrick O'Connor. In third place, Roberto Hernandez of Cuba, and Lomtiev of the Soviet Union is fourth. It's going to be tough to catch Tim Simon. We're now into the final 100 meters. Simon and Patrick O'Connor in the sprint.
Simon looks great. He's the guy that spent the year at Howard Medical School, spending more time with the books than with track and field.
Tim Simon wins the 4x400 relay for the United States. It was Daniel, Valmon, Pettigrew, and Simon.
Unofficially 44.4 for Simon on that anchor leg, and they broke the 3-minute barrier. Unofficially 2:59.57, the fastest time in the world this year by almost 2 seconds.
And a very strong performance by the team from Jamaica. We told you all four of those runners are American-based at universities here in the United States. Cuba finished third. The Soviet Union finished last. They were the winners in the Goodwill Games of 1986.
And here you see down the home stretch, when you get a big, strong guy like Tim Simon out front, even though his shoes seem to be a little bit untied, he's hard to catch. Patrick O'Connor ran an excellent leg, but that's a great victory for the entire American team. All four of them running strong legs, with the last three guys all running in the mid-44s.
That's a quick time for 1,600 meters we just saw blaze by. We got another look here from the top shot. That's a very good view of the final, the last handoff.
And there's the handoff, the open handoff. All you're looking for is a safe handoff of the baton. And it looked as if Patrick O'Connor would get right on the tail of Tim Simon. The thing that won this for the U.S., though, Bob, is this second leg. We talked about the man you have run your second leg needs to be the most aggressive of your four runners. Andrew Valmon waited until he went around the turn, and look at this effort on the backstretch. Notice that the baton is still in his left hand. Normally, when you take the baton, you switch it immediately to your right hand. There he does it after he goes by Jamaica and into the lead.
And that was the move that won it for the United States, made by Andrew Valmon, who ran on that Olympic gold 4x400 team, too. An exciting event here in front of nearly 30,000 at Husky Stadium on the campus of the University of Washington. The United States, Jamaica, Cuba, and the Soviet Union was fourth. A gold for the United States in the men's 4x400 meter relays. It was Clarence Daniel getting things started, Tim Simon wrapping it up, but the man who made the move, Andrew Valmon, Craig.
Andrew Valmon once came up to me and said, how can I become a famous track and field athlete? I really didn't have an answer for him. This relay leg, I think, answers that question.
The team is with Dave Sims right now.
All right, thank you, Bob Neal. Pretty impressive group of Americans here, winners of the 4x4. Tim Simon, you brought it home. Tell us about coming around that last turn, will you please?
Well, coming around last turn, I really didn't know where anybody was, so I decided to, well, here's right there. I just decided to kick as hard as I could, like I always do in the last part, and I got kind of tight, but I thought I could bring it home in first.
All right, Larry King has a question for Andrew Valmon.
Andrew, did you think you were in trouble when you took that stick?
No, I knew that I had a pivotal position. I had to give the stick in front So I just waited to make my move at the right time. I didn't want to exert that much energy on this turn, and I just waited till straightaway.
Okay, we're going to show that again, Andrew. How much of a key is the second leg?
For the team here, it was vital. Each person had their own role. My role in this particular instance was to give the stick off in front, and I felt the only way to get in front was in a back straightaway.
Okay, but you're trailing the Jamaican here. You weren't concerned?
No, I figured with a two-turn stagger, I had a little time. I just wanted to wait till the back turn to get him a little tired out and then make my move.
All right, now on passing the baton, when you're coming down toward the turn here and you're heading in, your idea is to get as big a lead as you can.
Right.
Do you think about the handoff? Is that conscious thought?
Well, we have 4 veterans here. We've been running relays for a long time, so it's in second nature for all of us, and I just wanted to make sure that the exchange between myself and Antonio was a smooth one.
Okay, now I noticed you glanced to your right a little there. You're aware of him, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was running on the edge of the lane so I can give Antonio a little room to get out on me.
Are you going full stride when you give it? No, you stop, right?
No, I'm pretty much in a glide mode.
Boy, that was terrific. Thanks for that action.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Let's go back up to Bob Neal.
Okay, the United States, Larry gets the gold medal here. Jamaica was second, Cuba third, Soviet Union was fourth. Much to the delight of the crowd, some of them leaving now as we're getting toward the end of the competition.